Good afternoon, everyone. It is Tuesday, which means it's time for an episode of the Tuesday Saltcast IRL. I am your host, Matthew Kadish, the belabored producer of the Salty Nerd podcast, coming at you live from our studio here in beautiful, crime-filled Las Vegas. With me, as always, is my fantastic panel of nerds, starting with Matt Vader74. How are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, man, I'm here. I'm I don't know. I need to take care of some business. Nadia has already annoyed me by sitting next to me.
She's learning how to push your buttons, isn't she?
She needs to know her role. Shut her freaking mouth.
Vader came in and was like, "Why aren't you in the kitchen, Nadia?"
Go make me a sandwich. Oh wait, that's not you. Never mind.
Yeah,
I'm just messing.
We're quickly becoming a manosphere podcast over here. And speaking of Nadia from Inside All Day, how you doing?
Hi, can I speak?
Please, you're loud.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, you may.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
yes.
excited. We're going to talk about some fun stuff.
Yeah, thank you for being here. You're sitting in for Jude as usual.
Yes.
Because Jude hates being on live TV.
Hi, Jude, if she's watching.
By the way, you have a live stream yourself coming up that you're producing.
Yes.
And why don't you tell people a little bit about it and how appreciative you are of my efforts as a producer, because she's realizing how hard it is dealing with certain types of people.
I'm just gonna.
It's not certain types of people. It's certain types of time zones. Yes. This Thursday we premiere. It's called Dames and Dorks. It'll be premiering on the Inside All Day podcast YouTube. It'll be five of us talking about nerd culture, pop culture, but from a woman's perspective. So we wanted to try something different than just a normal women's dating live stream. So check it out. Follow Inside All Day podcast.
It's a dating live stream?
No, we wanted to do something different than a dating live stream.
Dorks on Tinder.
Yeah, sure.
That's a show.
Is it?
It could be.
That's your new show. That should be your show.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So.
Well, it'll be exciting to see how many simps you guys can accrue over the course of the year. So,
good job with that. Good luck.
Just eat some
girl nerds.
I'm waiting for my $500 super chat. Our super chats are actually going to go towards a girls trip for all of us.
Yeah,
so
just
that's
start eating cereal while you're live streaming
and doing a nightgown.
Yeah, do some mukbang.
Push your titties together.
Just tape them together. Yeah.
That's all you gotta do.
Speaking of pushing titties together, Vader got shirtless on a live stream the other day.
I saw that.
Yeah, naked shoulders. It was really
Culture Casino was doing his 10,000
why
follower
the shirtless thing?
Well, I'm about to explain.
Oh, sorry.
So Culture Casino was doing his 10K live stream to celebrate getting 10,000 subscribers to his channel. And he had told people that if he hit 10,000 subs, he would take his shirt off on live stream. And it just so happened that Vader was on the live stream when Culture took his shirt off. And he encouraged all of his other panelists to also take their shirts off.
Were they all men?
And yes, they were.
Okay.
It was a total sausage party.
Okay.
Yeah. And for those of you out there who are obsessed with Vader's feet, you can now be obsessed with Vader's shoulders and his wonderful farmer's tan that he was showing off on Culture Casino's live stream.
It's pretty hot.
If you guys plan on doing that, Jude will have to take that seat.
No, that's never going to happen in here.
Sure, get enough alcohol in her, Jude, to be down for anything. So, but guys, real quick, we got to do some housekeeping here. So our goal for this live stream, if you're out there watching us in the chat, is to get 5 new memberships to our YouTube membership during this live stream.
With the 0 on the end of it. 50. 50. 50.
Oh, we're going to start with 5, maybe work our way up. But we want to give a shout out to all the wonderful people who have been gifting live streams or I should say memberships lately, including Jillian N., WG, and GJJ. Thank you so much for your continued support by giving people free access to our members' content. And also, we want to acknowledge some new people who have been very supportive of us. And this is actually quite important, if I can actually find the
I was gifted a membership the last week, and I was like, hey,
me
I'm
too.
here all this time.
I was too.
I'm here.
yeah, you guys were in the chat. You got memberships.
Yeah.
But we want to give a big shout out to our top contributor for the Tuesday live stream, William Forbus.
My man.
Yeah, who's apparently a Matt Vader super fan. He's dropped $500.
Maybe I should have you on the Dames and Dorks.
No way.
So we want to recognize our Tuesday superstar, William Forbus, who holds the top spot in terms of donation for $500. And of course, WG and Jillian N for all the gifted subs. Thank you guys so much. If you guys have any questions that you want us to answer during the course of this live stream, feel free to drop them in as super chats. We will read them as they come in. And we need these super chats. I'm going to tell you why. It's because our fearless leader, Alex Almany, is stranded in a different country. He has run out of money, and he is now living in a pub. As he's coming to us from across the pond, as they say. Alex, good to have you on the Tuesday show for a change. How are you doing there with your Guinness and your kilts?
Nice to have you on your own show, man.
It's good to be back, guys. Thanks for having me as a guest spot on my podcast.
Yeah, you're literally our guest for the day.
Yeah.
That's literally how this is working.
I am indeed stuck in a pub in Scotland. The wonderful people at KLM, or Royal Dutch Airlines, has informed me that my flight has been canceled, and they are rerouting me to another flight, which is not until tomorrow, maybe, and then I'm going to have to stay in London for a day and then fly home. So it's a bit much, but thankfully for our super chats, they're helping me stay alive over here with plenty of beer in Scotland.
Can you do me a favor, buddy?
Yeah, what's up?
Can you tell all those noisy Scots behind you to shut the fuck up, because I can't hear what you're saying?
I would advise against that.
Actually, Vader, they're all probably older than you, brother.
It's all right.
That's pretty old.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I thought was pretty funny out here. The nightlife out here is probably in the 65 and older range, and that's not an exaggeration.
It's because we know how to party.
All that alcohol is just keeping them alive, fermenting them.
All these young people, all they want to do is their
TikToks
their
and their vapes
and their stupid EDM music.
Their
on the
TikTok.
turntables. So
real quick, I want to give a big shout out to Backyard TARDIS, who just gifted 5 Salty Nerd podcast memberships. Nick, thank you so much.
That's amazing.
Including your wife,
No.
Alex, again.
Yeah.
She got another one?
Yeah.
Wow. Now the goal is 10.
Yeah. So now we're trying to hit 10 Salty Nerd memberships during the course of this live stream. Nick, thank you so much for helping us hit that goal. Really appreciate it. Nick's one of our OG supporters. He's been with us since the very beginning, and big shout out to him. Big love his way.
I do want to just say really quick, I think Alex is lucky that he's stuck in Scotland, and not Beirut or something, so there could be worse places to be stuck, I think.
Like China.
By the way, Alex, how's the food there?
Excellent. Actually, every place we've been to has been phenomenal. Service is a very different thing here in Scotland. It is not like the United States. They don't care what you want. They will give you your food when they're damn well ready, and don't ask for anything else.
Alex, you'll be happy to know that Matt Vader's super fan William Forbus, our top contributor on the Saltcast IRL,
holy cow,
just gifted 10 Salty Nerd.
You're gonna have to send this guy like feet pics, your underwear or something.
Don't make it weird.
Gotta send him your bathwater. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
No,
cool.
William, thank you so much. That's so generous of you. We love you here on the show. He also dethroned our normal top contributor, Scotty Dubb, on the Saturday show.
Yeah.
By dropping $500 in one super chat.
He's a madman. I'm glad we have him around, man.
And he has to sneak away from work and do it from his bathroom.
That's right.
I mean, don't say what you do, but I'm just curious what he does
I don't know.
work.
It's a secret.
He can just like sneak away to the bathroom and just go $500.
Well, I can go to the bathroom right now and do some things.
Are you going to send somebody $500?
No, I might go. I don't know. Take my phone with me, put it on a website. We'll see what happens.
Feetfinder.com. Not a sponsor.
Yeah.
OnlyFans.
So something.
Yeah.
I think we got. You can pull that.
Yep.
I don't know.
We got another super chat from the Astro Nerd Boy, one of our Salty Saturday superstars.
Okay.
Thank you for that, Alex. No salty vlog content. I mean, Shad is doing vlog content on his trip through Great Britain. You're obviously not a subscriber to Alex's Instagram because he has been vlogging the shit out of his trip.
He has.
Okay, so Kadish, that is my personal account. The S&P account, I want to curate it a little bit more to make it more consumable for people. So I'm going to take my time while I'm in layover in London and I have a Wi-Fi connection. I'm going to do all of my Instagram stuff. So watch for a massive photo dump, video dump, all the stuff, all the goods is going to come probably tomorrow, Astro. So keep your eye out on the Instagram account for S&P.
Yeah, and it should be important to point out that while Alex was over there in Scotland, he hooked up with the international combat guys or combat international guys. What's his name? Charlie
and Finn, I think, right?
I'm trying to remember Charlie's last name. I'm doing a really bad job at it.
Charlie Allen?
Yeah, he hooked up with Charlie Allen and his son Stunt Baby, and sent us a couple of action shots. So I'm sure that he's going to have plenty of vlog content of him at Combat International, learning how to sword fight and all that good stuff. Am I on the right track there, Alex?
Just about. So I was not able to hang out with Finn because he was working on a movie that they're doing that I can't talk about yet. But what I did get to do was create my own movie with Charlie as the director, as a Jacobite warrior fighting off the Redcoats. I am in the process of editing that right now. I want to do a little bit of a build-up. I'll share some snippets, and then once it's edited and complete, I want to reveal it on a Saltcast IRL in its full glory on the full screen. So give me a little bit of time to make it look good, but I will be dropping some snippets of it throughout the week to get the buzz going.
All right,
I'm so happy he's here. His voice just makes me feel better.
Be better if he was doing it from a less noisy place.
Alex has that. He has one of those voices that just like
soothes you to sleep,
like butter.
If I could get him reading like some stuff to me, I would put that in my ears. He could put me to bed every night, read me some like Dr. Seuss stories or something.
Quantum Cat for 25 euros, which I'm sure it will cover Alex's hotel room for tonight. Has Alex tried the haggis and Brie Dog beers?
I have not tried haggis because I do not consume blood, like actual blood, and they put blood in haggis, so I don't eat that. However, I have had a myriad of different beers that I have lost track of, so probably yes.
Well, we all know haggis was based on a dare, so I can't blame him for not trying that. And super chat for $20 from Matt Vader superfan William Forbus. Yeah, don't make it weird. I just like Vader because of who he is as a person, but the whole salty crew is awesome. Nice to see you, Alex and Mr. Kadish. I'm really enjoying Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I'm a chef.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's cool. Okay,
That's
that
really cool.
explains.
We had a little private conversation about Star Trek. He's trying to go through all the Star Treks because he's fairly new to it, I believe.
I've never seen any of it.
Yeah. So I thought he was going to start with the old school stuff. But I guess he's starting with DS9, which is fine.
Well, I love DS9.
Yeah,
it's probably my favorite of the Star Trek series.
Alex, have you seen Star Trek? Am I alone in this?
I've never seen Star Trek DS9. No.
Okay.
Alex is a Voyager guy. He's seen
Never seen
everything
any
from
of
Voyager. Yeah. Never seen any of the Next Generation.
You guys.
I've seen listen. Don't be upset. I've seen the JJ movies.
No, those don't count.
Okay, I know they don't count. All right, I understand that. But that's as far as my Star Trek
Can we get
universe
somebody
goes.
new to sit here?
I could bring Danny in.
Okay.
Wow.
At least he knows what Star Trek is. He'd school us all on Star Trek. But yeah.
Hey, Jude doesn't know anything about Star Trek either.
That's why she's not here.
It's okay. I'm willing to learn. To learn.
I'm just old. I know more things. It's fine.
It's okay.
Vader's entered his get off my lawn phase.
Yeah.
I really have. It's ridiculous.
I mean, where should I start? I feel like the old ones wouldn't hold up for me.
We'll discuss it later.
Okay.
We'll say.
All right.
All right, guys. So are you ready to talk about how Disney is now canceling shows that it's already completed shooting and deciding not to air them? This is kind of an interesting little topic that I stumbled across on Dateline. And basically, Disney Plus has shot 2 major shows. One of them is this UK series called Nautilus, which is about Captain Nemo from the Jules Verne 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea,
And the spider
and
one,
the
right?
Spiderwick Chronicles,
Yeah.
which is a very popular young adult series. And these are series; these are actual TV shows that have been completed, right? Like they're not in pre-production, they're not in what do you call it? Turnaround. They're done.
Yeah.
And so basically Disney, in a cost-cutting move to try to save, I think they're trying to save up to $1.8 billion or something like that, has basically decided that they're not going to release these, and they're looking to basically sell them off.
Shopping them out.
Yeah, shopping them out. And this is something that Warner Brothers got widely criticized for, because they basically did the same thing with Batgirl, that movie.
Well, no.
No, but aren't
Batgirl, they just didn't. We're not. It's never going to be.
They're trying to
anywhere.
see who's somebody buy this, right? To air it.
Yeah, but what I mean is that basically they spend a lot of money to complete shooting something, and then instead of releasing it, they're deciding to just say like, nah, this is good.
So
this will be on Tubi or something. Here
I'm curious
pretty
to
soon.
know why, though. Like, what about it was so bad that they're like, because they almost completed it, right?
Well,
No,
they're-
it
they're
is completed.
Wait,
They're
so then
done.
why is
Yeah.
it so bad to put it up? I mean, do you think they're just tired of they'll get criticism, or
So from what I understand, Disney Plus is a big money sink for Disney, and they're in kind of dire financial straits right now. So what they're looking to do is they're looking to cut back on the cost associated with Disney Plus, and these were both going to be Disney Plus originals. And so rather than continue throwing good money after bad, they're choosing to take some of these shows and sell them off or license them out or something like that, and recoup their investment that way. So like they won't go further into debt on Disney Plus. That's basically kind of like what I got from this. But they're doing a lot of like austerity measures where they're trying to basically cut back on a lot of their expenses, and they're just not doing a very good job of choosing stuff. But they've scaled back on Star Wars content. They've scaled back on Marvel content, and this is all in the Disney Plus sphere. So
but they're children's shows, so they would, I would
these
assume,
Are
aren't
they?
children's shows.
Are they
Aren't-
children's
aren't
shows?
the spider.
It's a young adult
Young
thing,
adult, okay.
but that's not children. Actually, the big audience for young adult stuff is middle-aged women.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I think a lot of our current
I'm not
content
middle aged yet, so
is based off young adult books and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
what's
the
that?
Harry Potter.
What's that show with the movie series where they put the kids in the arena with
Hunger Games?
Yeah, Hunger Games, isn't that a young adult
Yep.
series?
Yeah, it's considered, yeah.
It's pretty violent, right?
Yeah, but it's-
Maze Runner was young
Yeah.
adults.
That movie reminds me of a Japanese movie.
Yeah,
Battle
bottom
Royale.
line,
Battle Royale. That's a way better.
with both of these series is they're both just series that nobody gave a shit about. Nobody's going to watch anyway. So who cares?
I actually thought that the Nautilus series sounded pretty interesting.
Yeah, with Captain Nemo.
Yeah, it was like a prequel that
But it's-
shows like how Captain Nemo got the Nautilus
Yeah,
and how
but
he assembled his crew.
Isn't Captain Nemo like some Indian guy in this movie, in this show?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, is that Captain Nemo an Indian
Do
guy?
you think this will also pull them back from their live action movies that
God,
they
I hope
have
so.
down the roster, like Hercules and other movies? Because I know
I don't know.
with, to be honest, I would have just pulled the plug on Snow White too.
Wasn't Captain
Wouldn't
Nemo an
shock me if that
Arab?
happened.
Wasn't he
I don't know.
Arabic in the book?
I don't know.
I think so. It's been a long time.
It's just I
Somebody in the chat tell us.
These things are clearly aren't made for me because I have zero interest in any of this stuff.
Well-
Nothing. It's just I don't see how these characters. It's like nobody in this new young generation gives any shits about 20,000 Leagues Into the Sea or any of these movies that were made 50 plus years ago. So why would you want to reboot something that nobody's interested in seeing? You know, I can sort of see the Spiderwick Chronicles, but I haven't read those books. They're made for
Young adult.
people like your age, right? When they
I've
come out.
never heard of the. Is it similar to what was the Netflix series that had the two kids that were orphaned? I can't think of it. Jim Carrey did the movie for it.
Unfortunate series of
events.
unfortunate.
Yeah, series of
Thank you.
unfortunate
So I would
events.
assume
Whatever,
this is
yeah.
similar in that vein of that age range for
Right.
these books.
Well, I mean, so the Jules Verne book, is not young adult. It was early fantasy, and it's also in public domain, I believe. So like, it didn't cost the production company anything to do this, but it was their own kind of science fiction take on it. The Spiderwick Chronicles, it's meant for a young adult crowd, but when they say young adult, it's basically like 20s to 40s. Like that's the demographic.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they would mean like teenagers.
Jude is saying that Captain Nemo was an Indian in the book.
The
So,
son of Indian
okay.
Raja.
So there you go. I guess I was wrong, but whatever. That's fine. I never read the book. It's just, bottom
Ashley
line
just got a free drink.
Oh, cool. Disney
Just as good as a super chat. I guess.
Yeah, right.
Disney Studios, anything coming out of Disney right now is broken.
Yeah.
They're hemorrhaging money right now, and their actors. It's just, I don't think anybody has a lot of interest in anything that's coming out of Disney or anything that's really been that's overlorded by Disney. It's just, I don't know what they're supposed to do at this point because they've completely destroyed, I think, their image and stuff right now.
Well, I mean, at this point, their public image is something separate from what they're doing because they're basically taking austerity measures, right? They're firing a bunch of people. They're cutting back on production. They're trying to find ways to save money and stuff like that. And ironically, like, this is everything that they voted for and lobbied for and stuff like that because of Bidenomics, runaway inflation. The value of the dollar is worth less. Their tax credits don't go as far for like production stuff. And during the Trump era, like, they were overpaying for like a lot of this stuff. Like, they were ramping up production on stuff that they didn't need to spend money on. And it was just the good times were rolling and they didn't think that they were going to slow down. But then, you get Biden into office and the economy takes a dive. Everything's more expensive. Everything is, terrible,
Yeah.
And just speaking as like as a regular human, you go to the store, food is literally twice as expensive as it was just like 3 years ago, right?
Yep.
Gasoline prices have doubled and they're not going down.
Especially here.
Yeah. So like just the cost of everyday living has gone up. But when you factor in like union deals and like these actor strikes and lack of tax credits and stuff like that these studios are facing down, all of a sudden things are now way more expensive and they can't, like, their previous business model is just unsustainable, especially like since they went all in on streaming in the COVID era. It's like ridiculous how much money these streaming services are costing the studios. And you wouldn't even think it's a big deal because you look at Netflix and it's like Netflix made it work. Right?
Yeah. Well, also Netflix has
Been around a while.
There's different variety of genres and products that people are interested in. They also license a lot of their stuff for like season episodes and stuff. But Disney, I think, like you say, were banking on COVID and was banking on the Marvel and then going into how many Marvel shows they were putting, and the quality of it went down, even though the quantity went up.
All the studios were planning on releasing streaming services, but I think COVID accelerated that stuff. And because it messed up the traditional release model with like theater and stuff like that, they were kind of scrambling to figure out, okay, how is this monetization strategy going to work? Because I mean, technically Disney Plus should be profitable because it's pulling in hundreds of millions of dollars a month. But I guess the cost of producing the content for that, thing and bunch of other stuff like server fees and things like that, it's actually like a loss leader. It's very strange. But real quick, I want to get to a super chat here from JT Gunn, Late Night with Cap, for $2. Who is this dude in the bar? He looks drunk. That is Alex.
I think he's probably more sober now than he usually is on the show right now.
Yeah. No, he gets way more blasted on the show. It's like practically passing out.
I drink whiskey and scotch when I'm on the show. I'm drinking beer now. I'm on number 2. Hi, JT. It's great to see you. Thank you for the $2. Really appreciate it. That'll definitely help me get home from London tomorrow. Cheers.
While you guys are in London, you guys should go check out any of the Harry Potter stuff if you got time. Bring Jude some of that.
So here's like,
Alex is not a Harry Potter fan.
I'm not a Harry Potter fan. And the bridge that Harry Potter goes on, the little thing, it's in Scotland, and it was like 40 minutes away, but my day has been so booked every single day. I've been doing something. I haven't had time to actually go there and do it. And London, if I leave the airport, I have to go through customs leaving and coming back, which will eat up a ton of time and be a big hassle. So I think once I'm in the terminal, I'm kind of stuck there. I'm going to see if I can get out and go do something that's close by, but I'm not sure yet.
All right. Also want to point out this chat from Backyard TARDIS. Captain Nemo is not white. I love 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and I've watched every version of it.
Cool.
It does seem like a kind of like a Nick thing. The thing I was surprised about was the fact that the series was done.
Yeah, and they're not putting it out.
It was ready to be, streamed and premiered and all that stuff. And Disney decided to just take the L and not release it.
Well, what else is coming out for Disney other than Wish? I think Wish is on the roster,
but
right?
That's a theatrical release.
Even that, like for theatric, is that the last one for the year?
For this year, I think. But they got like the Marvels, which is a Marvel movie.
Oh, I forgot about the
Disney.
Marvels. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone. Yeah. We got a lot of stuff in the pipeline, but it just goes to show you that spending money on a completed series, it's cheaper to basically sell that series off than actually like put it on your streaming service, which I think is kind of interesting. But I'm going to be on the WDW Pro Show on Thursday, and they'll probably be talking about a bunch of Disney stuff because they've been doing a great job of covering like how bad of shape Disney's in right now.
But that'll be fun talking about Disney financials.
Yep.
Yeah,
good stuff.
All right, guys. Speaking of movies, let's talk about Dune 2 and how it's been getting pushed back into next year, March of next year, as a matter of fact. Yeah. So basically, we have yet another story from Deadline, where we have a bunch of movies that are kind of like shifting, but also staying the same. So basically, Dune Part 2, thanks to the actors' strike, is being pushed back to March of 2024. And what makes this kind of interesting is that I didn't know this, but they're relying heavily on Zendaya and her social media presence.
I found that very interesting.
Really?
Well.
Yeah. So apparently Zendaya has something like, was it like 78 million Instagram followers?
Number, yeah. I'll look it up real quick.
And in addition to that, like Timothy Chalamet and like a bunch of other actors.
They're keeping Wonka, and he's Willy Wonka.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a different. I think it might be a different studio.
I just watched the first Dune movie on my plane ride here to Scotland to pass the time, and I was like, Zendaya wasn't even in it. No. Why is she the major marketing factor for the second movie?
She has a bigger role in the second part,
movie?
And it's technically not really a second movie. It's just the ending of the first movie.
Just to be clear, Zendaya, my girl, has 184 million Instagram followers.
So to me, that's strange.
So that's a lot.
Because I can understand if this was part one, or if this was a movie that it's not a continuance of a story. But I would assume anybody who saw the first one who liked it is going to see the second one.
Yeah.
Well,
so why rely on Zendaya?
Well, no, so the idea here is that during the actors' strike, actors are not able to go out and promote their films. So Warner Brothers sees the fact that, you have young actors who are very tuned in to, social media and stuff like that, have a lot of followers, have a lot of fans. And they're saying that when they released the first Dune, they kind of shot themselves in the foot because it was like one of the first movie releases right after the lockdowns, and people weren't really going to the theaters all that much. And so it didn't gross as much as it could have. And they want this to be Warner Brothers Star Wars. They want a big science fiction franchise.
This movie came out kind of like
I haven't seen it.
In the middle of all the COVID nonsense. Yeah. So nobody was going to the theaters. And
it came out right after the COVID nonsense.
But it also came out, it got boned at the theater. The studio and people that were invested in this movie got boned because they did the whole HBO, we're going to simultaneously release it at the same fucking time.
I haven't seen it
in the theater. And
I wanted to read the book first before I saw the movie.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, it was one of those things where basically they did a day and date release. So like it premiered in the theaters and on HBO Max at the time simultaneously. And I can remember I was like, well, I could watch it on my TV, but I feel like this is a movie I need to experience in the theater. And so like I went to the theater to see it. And then like when I was done, I came home and then watched it on HBO Max. And I feel like day and day stuff is good for consumers because like it gives them the option,
Yeah,
but it's bad for the studios
because they're not getting their theater.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't this movie supposed to be seen like on IMAX?
Oh,
Like, there's
yeah.
a point
This-
of
this-
it? I'm
this-
hoping they bring it back because I do want to see it in
If
theaters.
if you didn't see this movie in the theaters, you didn't do yourself
I know.
eyeballs justice, because it's an epic movie. It's
Well, my hope was that with part 2 being released, they would,
I doubt
if they were
do.
smart, put part 1 back into theaters to make some money.
Well, what's interesting about this, so in pushing the movie back so that they can take advantage of the star power that's involved with the
Mhm.
movie, what they've done is they've opened up the IMAX window because Dune 2 had locked down the IMAX window for November.
Oh, right, with the Marvels, right?
And that was one of the things that it's like Disney wanted the IMAX for the Marvels and they couldn't get it because Dune had it all locked up. But now that that's open,
Man,
that leaves the possibility of the Marvels getting IMAX
I am
release.
so pumped. I am so
Really?
stoked. Because
Really?
I am so happy that I am not going to go watch the Marvels in an IMAX theater. Anyway, screw that. Nobody's going to go watch that piece of shit. It's dead on arrival, man. I mean, it's just
I just don't care. I
Yeah,
just
and
don't care.
nobody else does either.
I saw the first one because I was duped into, like most people, that you had to see it for Endgame. Like you had to see it. Okay, whatever. It
Gotta
made
quit
no
doing that.
fucking sense. I didn't see Miss Marvel series because, again, I don't think it was made for me. It's made for young adults, like actual young adults, I think. And I just didn't care. It's not a character I care about at all. And what's her face in WandaVision was in it for like what? Like a small amount of time.
Yeah.
It just, I have no care of where these characters are going.
So interestingly enough, now that this movie Dune 2 is going to be pushed back, it's taking the former place of Godzilla versus Kong New Empire,
I want to see
and that's getting pushed
Yeah,
back.
no, that's a movie I wanted to see.
I want to see that. I was just talking about the P. Diddy music video last night of the old Godzilla movie.
But it's kind of funny seeing like how things are being rearranged.
You know what I mean?
It's kind of funny seeing how things are being rearranged on these schedules because this is actually a very complicated process because like a lot of these release dates are kind of booked far in advance. Theaters kind of base like a lot of their promotional materials and stuff like that around these release dates. And what we're seeing is that basically Wonka, Aquaman, and The Color Purple are staying right where
They're making a
They
Color
are.
Purple movie?
I guess they're doing a remake of it. I don't know. I thought the Spielberg one was perfect, so I don't know
Yeah.
why they're redoing
One
that.
of the
one.
most loved movies of all time. Let's remake it. Okay.
I don't know if you'd
What
say
are
The
they
Color
going to
Purple is
change
beloved,
about it,
but
though?
It's pretty revered. A lot of people like that movie.
it's a good
Yeah.
movie.
I feel like that should be.
It's like a classic.
Yeah.
And
you shouldn't mess with it.
I'd like to thank our audience for sticking with us as Alex just stands there at
Well,
the pub.
he said he had to leave, and I told him to go plug his computer in. So I think he's trying to plug his computer in. But he might be.
Do
He
you
might
care
have
to
to
see
leave soon.
Wonka? I have
No,
I have no
I
care to see it
care
either.
less.
I actually liked the trailer for it. I
Really?
thought it looked kind of interesting.
I mean, it's a movie that was tailor made for me to watch on HBO Max when it comes out, in 3 weeks after it gets released.
I love the original so much that I just even the Johnny Depp ones were bleh. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Johnny Depp ones were weird.
they're really weird.
Yeah.
But
And then
It's
what's
interesting.
in the new Wonkas, there's no little people. No little people. It's no real
no
Oompa
Oompa
Loompas.
Loompas.
No, they had
They have 'em. It's
they
just,
had what's his name Hugh Grant
Yeah.
as an Oompa Loompa.
The
in the
Oh,
trailer.
right. I remember.
the
Okay.
fornicator.
It's
The guy who
interesting
likes
to me
these
that
girls.
they are relying so heavily on their actors, especially the younger ones, where I feel them not having any presence right now is a benefit for
It could
the
be.
studios.
It could be. So, like in this article, it says the 4 main actors together: Zendaya, Timothy Chalamet, Florence Pugh, and Austin Butler, who are all in. They're the younger actors
Yeah.
in Dune 2. Between those guys across Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, Zendaya reps 71% of those alone on
Holy
IG.
cow.
I
I mean, I liked her in the HBO series she was in for
Euphoria.
Yeah, I liked Euphoria. It was one of my guilty pleasures. I enjoyed it, and I liked her. I think she's a great actor, but I just that's a lot.
Yeah, so like she has massive social media reach, and I think that it's actually probably a smart move for the studio to like want to take advantage of these people's social
Yeah, it's
media
all
presence.
it's all marketing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely marketing. I mean, there's a comment that Instagram does not mean being successful at the box office, and that's true. But you know, that's also 250 million people that you're reaching that you wouldn't be reaching otherwise, and that's going to translate. I mean, even on like our world, YouTube, you get one YouTuber that has, you know, a large following to shout you out or anything. You're going to.
If we had
take some of those people,
if we had 100 million Instagram followers, and we did a post about today's episode, it's like, hey guys, check out today's episode. And even if just 5% of that following went and checked out the video, we could be making tens of thousands of dollars in ad revenue off that video. You know, like
sounds like you need to get Zendaya on your podcast.
Goals, baby.
Right?
I'll get right on that.
I have Zendaya on the podcast in a second. I mean, that's the whole thing. If Zendaya came on our podcast, we would have 100,000 subs the next day.
Yeah.
And it's just how it works. So.
And that's a great image for Alex to freeze up on.
Yeah,
right,
that's really good.
Holding up the beer.
So yeah, I get that.
I see it in the corner.
So Alex looks to be going back to his hotel room above the pub that he was just at. So maybe he might be joining us with like a little bit less noisy background. Could be good. Anyway, guys, let's start talking a little bit about video game stuff.
Oh, goody.
Such as the Baldur's Gate controversy that's going on. Matt Vader, I know you haven't played the game, and I know you don't like supporting Wizard of the Coast products, but have you heard of the big controversy that's surrounding it?
I read this article, and I was just kind of, okay. I still don't even, I don't understand it. I don't even know where we're going to go with it. But okay, that's cool. Let's talk.
So first of all the articles that we are going over are linked in the description for those of you out there who want to read them on their own. I just want to say that this article that we're linking to from The Escapist is complete garbage. The guy who wrote it is basically, I'm going to be kind and call him a hack. Like he completely misreads the whole situation here. Alex, are you familiar at all with the Baldur's Gate controversy?
He didn't hear.
Say that one more time.
I said, are you familiar at all with the Baldur's Gate controversy?
Just for you.
And Nadia's doing cosplay as we get into this.
No,
I'm guessing not.
Not the Baldur's Gate.
He doesn't even know what that is.
He doesn't know what it is.
Okay, Alex, just sit there and look pretty.
I'll go in the other room and we can chat for a while they talk about Dungeons and Dragons.
We're not talking about Dungeons. We're talking about Baldur's Gate.
You and your NPC horns.
So, Nadia, do you want to explain to the audience what Baldur's Gate is, first of all?
It's a D&D game, Dungeons and Dragons game, video game. It's been around for a while. There's like 2 other ones. And this third one is based off their 5e system, D&D's 5e system. It actually is interesting. This game has actually taught people who have never played D&D how to play D&D. 5e, I get it. I understand. 2e, I get it. And people who are inexperienced at the table to actually learn more about how to play 5e at the table too.
So basically this video game came out. It's a role-playing game, single player.
Yes. Oh, yes. It's an RPG. Yes.
Yeah. Single player RPG. And it has been praised to the heavens by video game consumers because they're like, there are no microtransactions. There's no bullshit live service. It's an actual game that you can sit down and play and get immersed in this world. It's one of the best RPGs to come out in a very, very long time.
It's a completed game to come out for day one.
Yeah.
Like it's a completed game.
No bugs, no glitches, nothing like that. It was not released in an incomplete state. The company that basically developed this game took 4 years to develop it and got it out, in a working condition, which is very rare in the video game industry nowadays. And basically fans have been just...
Even people who aren't even fans of D&D, who are RPG fans or just video games fans, have praised this game. Yeah,
a lot of people are saying not since The Witcher 3 have they played a RPG this good. And this is one of those games where like you can make your character the way you want it to and like really kind of like role play.
I just found out that you can trim your ball hair.
Yeah, you can use your genitalia.
That's awesome.
They have different genitalia variations.
It's super important in a video game.
Yeah.
And you can have sex with pretty much anything.
Yeah.
In the game.
Cool.
Yeah.
and like
That's like when they were making Red Dead 2,
we couldn't get
and the horse's balls would shrink if you walked through cold snow weather. Like, I mean, that's a cool detail to brag about, but why?
So the controversy surrounding this doesn't have anything to do with the game itself
Or the genitalia.
or the genitalia. I mean, like, there's a little bit of kind of pushback on that stuff. But here's where the controversy comes in. And it is that other developers are worried that they're going to have to live up to the standard that this
give a
game
complete
set.
game. Listen, if I'm paying $70 for a game, especially don't get me into the fact that it's not even a physical media, that digital and physical are the same price. That's a whole different ballpark. The fact that I'm paying $70 for a game and it's not completed on the day of release. Sorry, dude. Do your job. That's what you're paid for. Do your job.
Yeah, but basically developers were coming out on Twitter saying like, hey guys, we know that you're loving Baldur's Gate, but don't get used to this level of quality because it's very rare for a game like this to come out. And here's why. And the video game audience is just like, wait a minute, you're really trying to justify your lack of good video game development.
So they're upset with this company because they made the game too good.
Yep.
So the standard is set too high for them to put actual good games on the field.
Standard for all the other gaming.
That's super controversial. Oh my God. It's just, how dare you guys make a good product? That's ridiculous.
That's what it's come down to.
Yes,
and it's not just one developer. It's like industry wide. Everyone's like, look, you're ruining it for everyone else by actually delivering a completed game that's good.
Now I kind of want to play it. Somebody give me $70 so I can go buy the game.
Listen, your buddy's in the chat. All right, maybe he'll give you $70.
Gift it to me on Steam.
Well, even like with Hogwarts Legacy, it was such a hot trot game this year too. And when it released, it had a ton of bug issues. Like you would fall through things and stuff. It wasn't a completed game.
Mm-hmm.
They had to do a certain amount of patches to get it to where it is, and even Diablo 4. So the fact that they actually took their time, made sure that, and that's why they pushed back the PlayStation release. I haven't played it yet because I'm waiting for it for PlayStation 5, which is releasing September 6th.
Oh, you sweet summer child.
Why?
Why does Nadia have horns?
Don't worry about it. I'm not part of the master race, okay? All right, the PC master race.
You console gamers. Okay. I swear to God, get a grown-up machine.
Buy me a PC.
Jesus Christ.
You need to get some super fans.
Yeah, I know. Buy
super
me a PC,
chat you
Vader.
for a PC.
Quit trying to snipe my super fan. All right?
It's all right. I don't think he likes me. It's okay.
But Angry Joe recently came out with a review of Baldur's Gate 3, and he gave it a perfect score. He thought it was the best game of the year.
I know.
I'm
going out to buy it now because Angry Joe liked it. Man, I am sold.
I can't tell if that's sarcasm or truth.
Nadia, I have a question for you, Nadia. Would you compare this game to something like Skyrim?
At least
I've never played Skyrim.
Oh my God! Why not?
So Alex, this is kind of like an RPG, much like Skyrim, much like Fallout.
It's turn-based, right?
Yeah.
The combat's turn-based.
Yeah.
But the exploration and stuff like that.
Nope, hard pass. Nope, hard pass. If you can't make a game with live action when you're fighting people, just leave it alone. Don't even make it because it's nonsense.
It's based on. Alex, it's based on Dungeons and Dragons rules, so it's basically like a Dungeons and Dragons fight type thing. It's very similar to XCOM, how XCOM has their combat.
So we're gonna play 5 seconds, then we're gonna make everybody do something.
No, that's not just
play 5 seconds.
No, just make a board game.
Different style of game. It's fine. I get it. I don't really give a shit about that kind of stuff. It's just
I actually prefer that type of combat because I'm old and slow. Like I'm not a twitchy gamer. So like, I prefer the turn-based style games, which is why I love playing my mobile games because they're all turn-based. So F you, Alex. You don't know what you're talking about.
I like my
your buddy's saying throw me out.
I like my old games where makes me want to go play D&D. It makes me want to go play
But
WoW
the thing
again.
is though, it teaches people how to play D&D, which is really cool.
So
you can have different
real quick. Oh my fucking God, the girl didn't play Skyrim, you fake.
Sorry, I'm not a gamer, but I'm particular with my game. And it's woman to you, sir, not girl.
Girl.
It's person with ovaries.
We-
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Real quick,
No,
But
it's-
we got
we have-
some like snacks and some treats.
we have
Everyone
an
Go ahead,
Archie
buddy.
Icky
free
super chat for
chocolate
$5.
cookie.
Who is that homeless looking guy in the small screen to the right? Nice to see you, Alex. Hope your vacation has been awesome. And we got a super chat from Matt Vader superfan William Forbus
Right.
for $10. I feel bad for Vader. Didn't know you were a 2E guy.
You betcha.
I got into it when 5E came out. Haven't played the game. Video game sex. Ha ha ha. Freaking silly.
You're like a
ASF.
match made, man.
Just for the record, 2E's when I stopped. It's like
Oh,
I was a OG guy, you know. I had the old soft cover magazines and with the the I don't remember what it called, but first it was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. We had the word advanced on the end.
yeah.
It was the old school first edition stuff. That's where I learned to play this game. It was charts and graphs and graph paper and you had to use your brain a lot, and it was just a completely different game that it is these days. They didn't worry about people's feelings and
Safety tools.
and safe spaces and all this nonsense, and back when it was a TSR game, and I can't support it now. I'm sorry guys, I do not like this company that owns it now, and you're never going to get me to spend a dime on it, and I don't even know what else to say about it. I just can't. So, and I know it's all popular with all the young people now because you can play it online and stuff and play it over Twitch and all this kind of thing. And it's just
Well,
it's just not for me.
5e also made it easier for people to learn how to play, though.
Yeah, you dumbed it down.
Yeah,
And-
it did, but it
and,
made it a lot easier for people who are inexperienced with stuff like that to really
Well,
get into
learn
it.
how to play the fucking game the right way. Why does everything have to be dumbed down?
I wouldn't say it's dumbed down.
You
It's just like I don't want to sit there and have to do math while I'm playing a game.
But I
You
just
got you on
know,
that one,
like,
Nadia.
what-
I know. It's all right. Well, I'll be live streaming Baldur's Gate when it comes out for PS5.
Baldur's Gate is one of those games where I would be afraid to start playing it because I would just get sucked in. The last game that I played that was an RPG, it was Mass Effect Andromeda.
Okay.
And I did zero work for like 2 weeks as I played that game. Like I get so deep into RPGs, I just can't stop playing. I can't do anything until I finish that game, and I'm talking every side quest.
That's
Everything.
how I am with Diablo 4 right now.
Yeah.
Like it's addicting to just sit there and play for hours and not even the main storyline, just get all the side quests done just to get the achievements.
But the thing that kills me about this is like you have an entire industry that's basically Kono from Forgetting Sarah Marshall. It's like, do less, just do less. Like forget about, quality standards, forget about releasing good games, forget about releasing completed games, bug-free games. Guys, don't get used to this level of quality because we're never going to live up to it. And I think that speaks to a broader issue with the video game industry in general, because I remember growing up, you got completed games. Like when you went to the video game store and you bought a game, it was done. Now, there were occasionally games that had like glitches in them and like, like they were unplayable or something like that. But you'd return the game and like that studio would eventually like shut down. Nowadays, it's like, hey, get used to the crap we're feeding you because this is as good as it's going to get. We're going to release an unfinished game and you're going to pay us to continue to develop it and finish it. I just watched a video on, do you guys remember Anthem, the BioWare video game that came out not too long ago?
No.
It was basically like the Iron Man game, but it was like BioWare's big release and it was going to be a live service game. And basically you played people who got into like mechanical suits and flew around like a fantasy, setting. And it was a game that was like so hyped up and BioWare had such a great reputation. And then it came out and it was revealed that it was like slapped together. It wasn't well developed. It had bugs up the wazoo. It was boring. And it basically ruined the company BioWare because like they released this thing. And it was someone basically did a video where it was like, Anthem 4 years later. And I sat down and I watched it. And he was like, yep, it's just as boring and broken as it was 4 years ago.
Didn't Cyberpunk go through that? It was, such a game that was hyped quite a bit before it released. And then when it released, it had a ton of bugs and issues with it.
Well, the difference with Cyberpunk is that CD Projekt Red was the studio behind that. And they're the ones who did The Witcher. And I feel like they had some type of studio interference where they were pushed to release the game before it was ready, and they knew that it wasn't ready. And so like that's why they had this disastrous launch. But they were also trying to develop the game for next gen consoles and PC, like across like the board way before those things even came out. And they had to make sure that it was also playable on the previous generations. And so it was just like a kind of like an engineering nightmare for them because like things need to be developed depending on like the system that it's playing on. And it was just like, it got very complicated. And there was a lot of pressure for them to get that out because it had been in development for so long. So, you know, there is something to be said about, you know, some people in the video game industry saying like, hey, don't get your standards too high because like this is like a rarity, what happened with Baldur's Gate. But at the same time, it's like, hey, why can't this be the standard? Why can't video games live up to this? Peter, what are you laughing at?
My brother in the chat. Here. This is for Nadia.
What?
You don't roll up some demon spawn tiefling. You hunt them down for experience points. That is correct.
You know what? I can appreciate it, but I
Yes.
still like playing a tiefling.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So yeah.
Okay.
And I know you want to ship Alex out. He's trying to get out of here.
Yeah, I know. So Alex, thank you for being on the live stream today, even though this is your show. So I don't know what I'm doing here. But you know,
He has to go to bed
we
by.
know that you're stranded in a foreign country with foreign customs and foreign alcohol, and you're probably wanting to go to bed. So we're going to give you a good send off, and hopefully you will be back in the States and miserable with the rest of us very soon. So you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with everyone?
I do, yeah. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that did super chats today. They are going to be helping me deal with the extra expenses of being stuck here for an extra day due to our
Terrible internet.
And audio.
flight.
Oh, go on slideshow.
Just kicking.
All right, Alex,
Appreciate it.
you're completely
Goodbye.
frozen. Yeah, we didn't hear anything that you just said, but you know, it'll be good to have you back. Have a good one. Give our best to your wife, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Have a safe flight, buddy. Can't wait till you get home.
Yep.
All right.
And he's gone.
Yeah, boo.
But yeah, guys, Alex has basically just been burning through all the podcast money while he's out there. So we need to help get him back home, and your super chats go a long way towards doing that. So thank you very much for that. So Nadia, any final thoughts on the Baldur's Gate fiasco?
Unlike Vader, I'm going to play it.
Have fun.
I will.
I'm curious about how great it is now.
I will let you know. But
we'll see.
again, I'm playing console. I'm not part of your PC
Yeah.
master race.
Consoles aren't for RPGs. I'm sorry.
I
They're for playing Madden.
for playing Madden.
I don't disagree with Vader. They're
Listen.
for more Twitch-based stuff.
If I could afford a really cool gaming PC, I would do it, but I can't.
NZXT.
I know. I have it. I have it as a wish list item. I'll get it eventually.
Yeah.
We'll see when Baldur's Gate 4 comes out.
Vader, any final thoughts on the controversy surrounding
No.
Baldur's Gate?
None. I have no thoughts on the game I'm never going to play. So yeah, cool. All right.
All right. So let's get.
I thought he was leaving. Why is he still in the green room?
Oh, because he craves attention.
Oh, okay. Sorry for the shit internet, but yes, Kate is
Oh,
right.
here we go. Here we go.
Super chats go a long way. Thank you. And I'll be back in the States soon in studio. Can't wait for you to be here, buddy. Honestly,
Yeah.
you are missed. So go get some sleep at 2:00 in the afternoon or whatever it is. And we'll see you next week.
Did I tell you he's been sending me pictures because we sent him this cube? So he's been sending me pictures of his hand just in different areas of Scotland
That's
holding
funny.
it.
That's pretty cool, actually.
All right, guys. So let's talk a little bit about the manosphere because this news kind of rocked the world not too long ago. The Fresh and Fit podcast has been demonetized on YouTube. And this is actually a very popular podcast about, you know, kind of like male-centric self-help, teaching guys how to like, you know, get more women, get more money, get more, you know, healthy, all that good stuff. And they just came out this week and said that YouTube has not only demonetized their entire channel, but also all the channels connected with them. And YouTube has not given them a reason as to why this is, and it was a big hit. I don't know why these guys didn't prepare for this, because it was very obvious that their content was going to get them in trouble. But the idea here is that one of the most popular podcasts on the internet, and these guys have millions and millions of followers and stuff like that, YouTube has basically just tried to cancel. And they're going to try to move to Rumble and do like more membership stuff, but all their YouTube memberships disappeared. They can't take super chats anymore.
Wow.
So like they've basically been crippled, and they've got expenses. They put on like a production of a show and stuff like that. And this happened right after they appeared on Timcast.
Timcast?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And also it happened very shortly after they had on a controversial figure, Nick Fuentes, who's been accused of being a white supremacist. Which is kind of odd considering that both Fresh and Fit are black guys. And, they had this guy on, and it was like, oh, YouTube is going to ding them for that. So I think that this kind of speaks to a larger issue here, which is, and we've seen this even with people in our own sphere, where the Popcast guys got their live stream channel completely demonetized for no reason. Like,
they ever get
Nope.
YouTube ever give them a
no,
reason?
nope, YouTube never told them why. And they're still trying to appeal it, but that was like a huge hit to their income, and like, content creators, a lot of people, they consume content for free, so they don't think about it. But in order to produce content, you need to have some type of financial incentive in order to make it possible. We're kind of in a weird position because like we've been doing this for a couple years, and we've done it just out of sheer passion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when we first started Vader, was out of Alex's.
We would do this if we weren't getting super chats or
Yeah.
not. I think still at this point, but it comes a point where it takes a lot of time.
Well,
takes a lot of effort, a lot of work.
Chris and I, it's all about out of our pocket right now because
Yeah.
we're not monetized. We don't have super chats. We don't have memberships yet. I mean, we hopefully one day will grow to that.
I mean, there's
But-
ways around it. I mean, you can set up your PayPal stuff for donations and everything, but for some reason, people are much more inclined to push a super chat button because you get your name highlighted and you can leave messages and all that kind of stuff. Whereas the other things is not quite so interactive, and I understand that. But.
And
it's also a situation where the one of the main co-hosts of the podcast, he was a former government agent with Homeland Security.
Yeah.
And he quit his job to go full time on the podcast because that's where his passion lay, and he got kind of tired dealing with the bureaucratic BS. But Vader, if we were making enough on the podcast, where like you could quit your job, Alex could quit his job and just do it full time.
It's the goal, baby.
That's the dream, right?
Yeah.
Like we could be making so much more content. We could be interacting with the chat so much more if we had you guys doing this full time.
Yep.
And but just imagine you quitting your job, doing this full time, doing something you're passionate about, doing something you love, and then YouTube just says nope.
Yeah, that's one of the worries I have because that's a goal of mine is to eventually, be able to quit my day job as well. And I mean, I know Chris and I, we have kind of a leg up because we know you guys and we're able to, use the studio. So not a lot of content creators have that ability. But yeah, this taking somebody's livelihood is like taking out their kneecaps.
And this is something that YouTube has made a habit of, right? Where like if they don't like what you're saying, they won't cancel you, but they'll stop paying you, and so like it disincentivizes you to be talking about this stuff.
Like they did with Crowder in the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. There's something to be said with the whole thing of don't get in bed so much with one thing that it'll destroy you if they just decide to pull the rug out from underneath you. You got to diversify. YouTube is one of our things. It's probably one of our main things right now. But we need to grow that Rumble channel. Where
Kick,
the Kick, the Twitch, whatever. All ad rep. You got all of these things. They all add up. Merch, T-shirt sales, that kind of stuff. It all helps. But yeah, I mean, YouTube is the big one. It's the big one for everybody.
I do have,
and if they just decide to say go pound rocks.
Well,
it's very
we know
strange.
how hard it is to build an audience on YouTube. Like we've been grinding for about 3-4 years now.
Yeah.
And I can remember like that journey to 1,000 subs to get monetized. That was a fucking grind. And then you go up to 5,000 subs, and we had Jamie French in here on Saturday, and she has like close to 800,000 subs.
Yep.
And she was like, yeah, the first 100,000 is really hard.
It's like, oh my god.
and we were like, well, we were told the first 1,000 was hard, and then the first 5,000 is hard, and
Yeah,
then the first 10,000 is
I
I
hard.
mean,
mean, look at I'm trying to get us up to 500, and
Yeah.
I mean, we're not even close to 100. We're almost to 100, but I mean, yeah, I can't imagine like 1,000 looks further away, and then
I think-
10,000
I think,
looks further away.
you know, you just got to take it one step at a time, though. You can't get frustrated if you're trying to get to 100,000.
But
do you
you're
think
just
they're
starting out.
doing this?
That's unreasonable to think. You know, you might not ever get there. You know, so
Do you think they're doing this because of the election year coming up? Because these guys would be so
be.
they're kind of in the Andrew Tate sphere, right?
Mhm.
The Jordan Peterson, Andrew Tate sphere
It's
of
called
like
the manosphere.
Thank you. Yes. You know, basically make your bed, make your money, take care of yourself, all this stuff. And that tends to be labeled more right, right on the right. It tends to.
Well, my question is, so we know that Google and YouTube is a left-leaning company.
Yeah.
They're a big tech censorship firm, basically. And a lot of big creators have to be very careful with what they say. Now, these guys, they were already in kind of trouble with the fact that they, were doing kind of like manosphere content, where it could be seen as like anti-women or misogynist or like whatever. I think that they got kind of a pass on that because, like they're two guys of color that are saying this stuff. But I think the fact that they showed up on Tim Pool's show and they made their politics clear, that's what got them dinged by YouTube.
But that's what I'm saying. Do you think because we're getting so close, do you think if it was, 2 years ago, if they had said that they would have gotten dinged, but because we're coming up on an election year and we're getting closer to it, YouTube is cracking down even more so on anyone who doesn't agree or doesn't have the same narrative across the board?
It's hard to say that because what Elon Musk did with Twix, Twitter X,
Twix.
Twix.
I like Twix.
Basically, he now has there's now a platform where people can say stuff uncensored, right? To a degree.
To a degree.
But more so than it was ever done before. And so now when YouTube or Facebook or whatever tries to censor something, there's a place with a large audience people can go and get that message out. And it makes the other places look sinister and bad because there's ways to get that information out now. Whereas before, when all the big tech companies were in lockstep, you could literally just like silence anything, right? Like the Hunter Biden laptop, all that stuff. So the thing about Fresh and Fit, though, is that it's very obvious that YouTube still has a kind of like a hit list, essentially. And if you run afoul of YouTube, and it's not even about doing controversial content or like whatever, if you run afoul of YouTube, they can basically just destroy your livelihood overnight. And this is something I ran into because when I ran my marketing agency like a couple decades ago, and Google just decided to shut down my ad accounts for no good reason, literally destroyed my business overnight. And so like Google has a habit of this. They don't care. They don't care. Like the people who create content and the people who advertise are not their customers. Their customers are the end user. And so they make so much money losing someone like Fresh and Fit. Like, they're still making ad revenue on those guys' ads, but the Fresh and Fit guys aren't getting it.
That's
right?
crazy.
And that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't they take a pretty good percentage of your super chats
It's
too?
like 30%.
30%, where is it StreamYard or somewhere else takes like $3 or something?
Kick is 5%.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to be kicking back the processing phase and stuff, but YouTube has the biggest audience. They're the biggest game in town, so they can take more, and justifiably so, because without them, like, you wouldn't be getting those in the first place. So like, I don't want to badmouth YouTube too much because it is a good platform, but I just can't imagine like spending the time to painstakingly build an audience, build a brand, build a business, and then overnight the platform that you're on just like yanks it out from underneath you.
I can't imagine how much of a financial hit that is, because they've got 1.49 million subs. I mean,
and that's just on YouTube. That's not even on the audio end of things.
Do you think that? Well, I mean, they're big. They're gonna hurt a little bit, but they're big enough that if they were to go over to Rumble, people would follow them.
Well, they're trying to because they had been simul streaming to Rumble, but the thing about Rumble is like it's just not up to the level of YouTube. Even though like you can say more on there and not worry about getting in trouble because it's more of a free speech platform, the interface is still a mess. Their
I know they
still,
just announced they were doing something new today.
well, they're still trying to figure out how to make it as easy as YouTube is. Like YouTube spends so much money and manpower just testing stuff out and figuring out, okay, what's the best user experience we can deliver, and they streamline a lot of this stuff. Rumble doesn't have that type of backing, so like they're still struggling to figure it out. So they are the David versus Goliath situation here. But someone
X
like
and Rumble should just combine.
someone like Fresh and Fit, even if they went to Rumble, because the thing about Crowder moving over to Rumble is that when YouTube was hitting him hard, he transitioned over to a subscription model, from an ad model to a subscription model. So he wasn't dependent on YouTube ad revenue to basically pay for his business, which means that even though he's on Rumble, he's still making the same amount of money because like he transitioned to a consumer-based membership model.
Yeah.
If he was still dependent on ad revenue, he'd be dying at Rumble because Rumble would not be paying him enough to be there. So I think that Fresh and Fit are in a bad situation simply because they were dependent on ad revenue and things of that nature.
It's interesting to me that they've gotten marked where Daily Wire hasn't. YouTube hasn't gone after Daily Wire because I'm sure they could demonetize Daily Wire.
Well, they've
They wanted to.
demonetized some of Daily Wire's channels,
but not the
Matt Walsh being like the biggest one. But Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Boring are very, very savvy about how to play within
the rules
that YouTube lays out for them. And, it just kind of highlights the feud that Crowder had with those guys when they were doing like their deal negotiations. It's because, basically they're very willing to kind of like bend to the will of these big tech companies in order to have their podcasts and their business grow and stuff like that. But it also makes you wonder, it's like, okay, what are they compromising for it? So,
but they're also getting their message out to like, it's kind of a pros and cons list, right? If they stay within the rules, they're still able then to get people the message that they're trying to say.
But then you have someone like Tucker Carlson, where he embraced
X,
like Twix, and basically he has like the biggest show on there, and getting hundreds of millions of views.
I love Tucker Carlson's laugh. His laugh just makes it giggle every time.
But what we're seeing here is like we're on the edge of kind of like a content distribution revolution, where like there's so many different like distribution channels opening up for content creators. The issue is always like which ones are going to pay. And so far, Twix is the only one that has the potential to compete with YouTube because they have the potential to basically do revenue share on the level that YouTube does. No other video platform has that. Rumble doesn't have it. Odyssey doesn't have it. Twitch kind of does, but at the same time, like Kick is kind of eating their lunch.
Like YouTube, right? Where they've been knocking down on people too, right? They've been removing people off their platform.
Twitch, I think, is a whole other conversation.
But it's similar to where they're going after people for things.
They're like super woke, and they're like, don't want people saying things that aren't necessarily going along with the narrative. And there's been like issues with how much of a cut they take. I think they've gone up as high as like 50%.
What?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, but then they backtrack it and all this kind of stuff. I'd have to do a little research.
But they also force like commercial plays on people's streams.
Twitch is not a good platform.
Yeah.
I'm on it for streaming, but because it's only because
since you're just starting your channel, I would just go to Kick and tell.
Well, the problem is Kick doesn't stream from the PlayStation.
Oh well, you should get a real piece of equipment then and start doing things like that.
Yeah, get a streaming piece.
Seriously, just put it on a credit and use it. Call it a business expense. $20 a month for your income for your payment or something.
Yeah,
but also I think one of the things that's important to point out is that 60% of YouTube's audience is mobile based.
Yeah,
and
the Rumble app sucks. Just like I think Nerdy Neo was saying too, the Rumble app is horrible both in mobile and on TV too as well.
It's not great.
Yeah. So basically YouTube has all these different avenues available to it where the user experience and consuming content's good. And the others are all way far behind, like Rumble's mobile, Odyssey's mobile, like all these things. It's hard to do. Facebook and Twitter, or I should say Twix,
Twix.
like they have a good mobile presence, and so they're able to compete in terms of content delivery with that. But these YouTube competitors are kind of far behind. So it is kind of interesting to kind of look at this and be like, what's going to be the future for content creation? Are we still going to have to kowtow to YouTube's unreasonable rules because they're doing all this under the guise of advertiser friendliness? And I really think that at some point the government needs to step in and have like a creator's bill of rights or something like that, where like if you have a business built on, you know, a major platform like YouTube, then YouTube either has to be very transparent with why they're demonetizing you, or there needs to be certain protections in place that kind of coincide with like the Bill of Rights, like free speech and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, because not every content creator who's probably been doxxed can afford even like lawyers and how some of these bigger content creators can get out of it. You know, I know Crowder got doxxed quite a few times.
I mean, demonetized.
Demonetized. Sorry, not doxxed. Yes, sorry. No, not doxxed. Sorry, I'm not with the lingo. I'm not that hip. But demonetized, I mean, you can't. I mean, if you guys were demonetized, could you afford the lawyers that Daily Wire that Crowder had, like all that stuff? I mean, that's crazy.
We can't even get a real person on the phone over at YouTube.
Wow.
Well, no one can really. I know that Tim Pool has like some type of YouTube connection that he can call up if he has a question or a problem, but that's someone for like, you know, in the upper echelons of like YouTube viewership and monetization and stuff like that.
Well, do you think, because I know Elon is talking about X kind of being the all app, that when he eventually gets to similar to YouTube where it's video content, you can post longer things on there, do you think that would give YouTube a run for its money?
The issue is just down to monetization. What are the incentives for creators to go there? Because the creators will be the ones to cultivate the audience. So it's more important because Twix already has the ability for people to upload like 2-3 hours videos, right? They have the ability to live stream. They have all this stuff. But the question is, what's the financial incentive to do it on Twix versus YouTube, right? So, I mean, that's basically what it comes down to. And speaking of financial incentives, we got a couple super chats here. JT Gunn, Late Night with Cap for $2. Don't worry, Nadia, I have your back. PS5 for life.
Heck yeah, man.
I just like to give her a hard time.
Yeah, I know you do.
We like each other. It's all fine.
Don't worry, he apologizes to me every stream.
It's really fun hanging out with you today.
Yeah. I'm like, thanks.
Vader hates the people he likes the most.
As I cry in my car, he comes up the window.
You're so mean. Hey, before you get to the next super chat, and thank you, JT. We've gone from 3 viewers on Rumble to 14 all of a sudden since I posted that link in there. So hit that subscribe button over on Rumble as well, guys, because we do really want to grow that channel over there. Everything we do, like from our live streams and our videos, is over on Rumble as well. So please don't be shy by pushing that sub follow button over there. So yeah,
it's very interesting to me. I can understand Fresh and Fit maybe getting hit, but your friends, I can't remember the
Popcast guys.
They're pop culture podcast.
Very strange.
So why would they get
they got caught up in that reusing content stuff, right?
It's very nebulous what happened over there, but they weren't the only ones. Like Geeks and Gamers got demonetized for a bit. Jay Drunk 3BO had one of his channels hit.
His pirate one, right?
Yeah. It's very strange, but I feel like Fresh and Fit were sniped. Like YouTube specifically took aim at them for some reason, and they haven't come out publicly and said, you know, why, like what terms they violated to get their channel completely demonetized.
Right.
Real quick, Das Wolfen, member for 3 months.
Yes.
Hail all. I am playing BG3 at this very moment, Baldur's Gate 3.
That's cool, man.
Yep. Maybe he's playing it on the PC. See a PC master.
I wonder what he's playing as.
Wonder what he's fucking.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3.
A bear.
A bear. All right. So, guys, let's talk about Japanese weather girls and how they aren't allowed to have boyfriends.
These are the weirdest topics.
The weirdest segue.
I find this story very fascinating.
I watched the whole video yesterday. I was like, what are you sending me?
I do want to just before we get going, really old movie says he's listening on both YouTube and Rumble.
Nice.
Strangely enough, Rumble is further ahead than YouTube.
That's because there's a delay on YouTube. Yeah.
So that's very strange.
But so there's this great video from Japan Analysis about a very popular weather woman in Japan. And apparently Japan has a weather channel that only hires hot young women to read people the weather. And they use these girls to basically hawk like air purifiers and all types of like weird stuff. And there was one girl in particular who was very popular. And if you guys want to watch this video, it is the link is available in the description. But this girl, I'm blanking on her name, but basically she was one of the most popular of these like weather chicks, you know, over in Japan. And she was kind of like nerdy and she liked to cosplay and she was a little bit socially awkward. So she was very endearing. And she just built up this huge following of simps. And I guess when they go live on their weathercasting thing, it's a 24-hour weathercast channel, they have like a live chat. And there are all these like lonely Japanese men, and they're just like thirsting over this girl. And so she was one of the most popular draws. And a while back, right before they had like this big fan conference for weather girls in Japan, this girl kind of like disappeared from their streams, and everyone was like, "Where's this girl? Where's this girl?" Yeah. And she got spotted at Wimbledon, and apparently she's dating like this Japanese tennis player. And they were keeping it on like the down low, but she kind of got outed by being spotted at, you know, Wimbledon, basically.
Because she was seated in the family and friends area of the players.
And so it was revealed that like she was dating this guy, like this Japanese tennis player was her boyfriend. And all of her simps just like blew a fucking lid. Like they were like, you know, they felt betrayed. They felt like she was cheating on them or something like that. And apparently in Japanese culture, there's this thing called idolatry, something like that, where basically if you're looked up to
a public figure
as a public figure or whatever, or you're idolized, you're not allowed to have relationships with other like romantic relationships, because it'll ruin that facade. And so there's this thing called like the no dating rule, where like basically if you're famous in Japan, you're not allowed to date anyone because it's going to like ruin your career basically.
Well, it's more of a don't be seen dating. You know.
Which is interesting because over here they actually like force people to date to kind of draw
sometimes
up public.
Well,
it's just make it public.
But it's actually more closer to the strip club rule, right? Where like all strippers are single guys.
Yeah,
they're never
all
married.
Like men,
they all like men. They're never married. They don't have any boyfriends.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of funny because this is actually very reflective of like the Twitch simp culture, right? Where we have like the thoughts, you know,
the amaranths.
Yeah, the amaranths, like the hot girls who are basically keeping their clothes on, but they're basically just doing like webcamming and get guys to like, you know, spend tons and tons of money on them. And that's what this girl was doing, except it was like as a legitimized like weather girl.
Well, she's on a weather channel as a weather girl. It's a 24-hour weather channel that has like 12 other hot chicks that are all the weather girls.
And she also
there's no dudes on the front of this thing.
Had signed purifiers, right?
It's
like
it might as well be called the Thought Weather Channel in Japan. You know, basically.
Well,
right?
this channel's business model is basically they audition young women only to basically get a role in like their stable of weather girls, and it's very much like they know who their audience is, right?
Oh, so it's Hooters.
Yeah, it's essentially like
want some wings with those boobs,
or
like
Twin Peaks, right?
Hooters for weather.
Yeah.
But it was kind of interesting because this one girl, like her fan base was so hardcore. Like there was this one guy who had like an image of her painted on his car, and he'd like drive around with like it on there.
Oh my god!
And a lot of the people who were going to the fan meetup for this were big fans of hers, and so. This controversy dropped like right before the fan meetup was set to happen, and so like it caused like a big kerfluffle. But I just found it very interesting that like this poor girl, she just wanted to date this guy, you know, and by doing so, like she basically almost got canceled. Essentially.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a hot weather chick. I mean, we have hot weather girls here. It's a thing. But we don't have entire channels based on hot weather girls. You know, we have ring girls in UFC and boxing matches. They're out there in their underwear, you know, with their signs. It's just
cheerleaders. I mean, we have cheerleaders. We have
you know, it's not a huge thing. I mean, but you know, we don't like well, maybe some people do, but we don't like have entire channels dedicated to hot weather chick. It's a weird. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to like get canceled for having weird cultural perspectives, but
it is a different culture over
yeah,
there.
and I want to be
and
careful because I
stuff.
feel like some of these guys over there, they're a little bit too into these girls, but then you look at Twitch and all these girls that are
literally
hot tub streamers and stuff. It's like
people will sit there and
weird.
watch Pokimane eat sushi as she's watching, but no commentary. She's just sitting there eating sushi. They'll be dropping $500 super chats.
Man, if I was 15 years younger.
Why do you think I'm afraid to put a foot pic online? Because there's some weirdo out there that's going to make a poster out of it and take it to a WWE event. Next thing you know, my foot's on the poster on this ringside. So
that'd be legendary.
It would be awesome. I'm not gonna lie, it would be pretty awesome.
I think it also stems from their culture of the fact that their culture is very well known to have digital girlfriends, and I'm not talking about an actual human being. I'm talking about like video game girlfriends.
Well, their whole culture is very kind of like what do you call it? Repressed.
Yes.
So like there are a lot of lonely men in Japan. They even talk about that in the video where there's like this kind of like phenomenon of like lonely men. And the reason that weather channels like this are so popular is because like the men who are busy working or like learning or studying, like whatever, they can take a break for like minutes at a time and watch a pretty girl and feel connected to her before they have to get back to their shitty lives. And it's kind of funny because like when people found out that she was dating this tennis player, when she did get back on TV, the live chat would just spam tennis ball emojis.
I saw that,
on there, and it's all very amusing, but it's also like the culture of simping is just so messed up, right? Like I don't remember hearing that term until like maybe like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, not too long ago.
Yeah,
it's very strange.
And it came along the time because Twitch and stuff like that used to be if you were good at playing video games, you go on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
But then girls discovered it's like, hey, if I'm a girl,
I can be bad at video games, but I can look hot,
and I'm halfway attractive. I can just be on camera, and make a ton of money, way more than the good video game players.
You sit there, but we're not lying.
No, I know, I believe you.
I mean, you throw some cleavage up there and play fucking tic-tac-toe on your stupid PS5. You're gonna get 20,000 subs.
Maybe I can get my PC finally then.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But I get it. Guys like to look at hot chicks. It's fine. I get it. I like to look at hot women.
So speaking of dropping money, we got a super chat from salty superstar Bob Dorsey for $100. Thank you so much, Bob. Really appreciate that. Just out of a meeting, have no idea what y'all are talking about. That's probably a good thing. Happy birthday. Thank you very much, Bob. I appreciate the birthday
really
wishes.
Awesome. Very generous.
And the tip. That's going to go a long way towards getting Alex back in the States. But yeah, I've always wanted to visit Japan, and
that's my dream trip.
Yeah, I'm just kind of wondering like about like the cultural differences over there. But it really does seem like we talked about mukbang, which is a Korean thing.
Oh, I'm not talking about that again.
And we're talking about like the simp culture that's very alive and well in Japan. And so like we've seen that kind of translate over to American audiences and stuff like that. It's like a whole phenomenon. So like I just found this story like fascinating. Like it was just kind of funny, but at the same time very sad.
Yeah, it's
because of the TikToks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, TikTok's a weird thing.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, I want to go to Japan,
but
it's my dream trip.
Just again reiterate. I mean, the hot weather girl thing is not a new thing or specific to Japan. But I mean, there is nothing hotter than some of these Latin Hispanic channels with their hot.
Oh, I know what you're talking like they're like their news and stuff.
Oh my God, and they're purposely there to be hot and point their fingers at the green screen. So it's fine. It is what it is. But,
try to come off as a modest culture.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that's really weird about Japan is they have all this hypersexual stuff, but yet you're not supposed to talk about
it in public or anything. Yeah,
very strange, right? Where we're the exact opposite.
Yeah. I don't even think you're allowed to get drunk in public there either.
There's like they have like a tattoo rule or something.
I know. We've been researching because we've been wanting to go, and because I'm covered in tattoos, so I have to be careful of like the hot springs we go to, we'll have to find one that's tattoo appropriate.
It's crazy.
Well,
Crazy.
guys, speaking of TikToks, there's
Tickety
another
talks.
tickety
This
talk
makes me so angry.
trend about smashing eggs on the heads of your children. Yeah, this is kind of a weird one, but so basically, there's this TikTok trend where people will film themselves cracking eggs on the top of their kids' heads, and a lot of professionals are coming out and saying like, "Hey, this isn't a good idea. You could actually like do some serious damage to kids. Not only if like their skulls aren't fully developed, but they could get either salmonella or some type of food poisoning
Or
from like the
bruising.
eggs
Oh
or
my
bruising."
God.
And so people are just like, "Hey, don't be hitting your kids in the head with
Jesus
eggs."
Christ.
Now, Nadia, you said that this personally pissed you off. So like, I want to hear your
I need
take.
a drink.
So
Give me
it pisses me off for multiple reasons. One, don't use your kids for clout. Don't use it to be streaming on it. I'm a big proponent of not giving your child a digital footprint. So not having pictures or videos of your kids online until they're old enough to make the decision for themselves. But this is just a bunch of egotistic parents that are like, I can understand maybe doing this in the privacy of your own home as a joke, you and your husband or wife, and you're having fun, maybe. But doing this just to get clout out of it, I don't agree with it.
People
it's
people have been using their kids for TikToks since TikTok was invented.
And I don't agree with that. I don't. I don't agree in forcing your child into videos or forcing your child into doing things just so that you can get, you could be trending because of it.
I agree with you for the most part, but at the same time, if there's a video, if I do something funny with my kid and I want to post it on Instagram or something, I'm gonna do it.
But how old is your kid?
Well, my kids are old and grown. But
That's what I'm saying.
I would do it with my grandkids. I whatever. It's just
that's your choice, and there are parents who do it. But I'm a big proponent of no digital footprints until the kids are old enough to understand what is going on.
I understand that, but how many times have you laughed at a little kid saying "fuck you" or something weird? Yeah, you just laughed. You just laughed.
And you are a little kid.
Because a little kid is swearing, or they're having fun playing with their dog, or they
but that's
fall
different
off a
than
rock into the river, and it's just.
But that's different than actually using your kid for something like this, where this is
just you're not going to hurt anybody cracking an egg on their head. I'm sorry.
I don't know. The experts say so.
It's like, oh my God, his skull isn't fully. How the fuck do people live these days without worrying about their kids getting salmonella because you had a fucking egg crack on top of their head? That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. This powder puff bullshit culture that we live in. It's like, do you let him ride a bike? Or does he have to have a helmet and full fucking catcher pad gear when he goes out and rides his bike?
Don't look at me. I drink out of a hose. I was that generation.
It's
Don't look
the
at
dumbest
me.
thing. And that's the thing. I was too.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fucking make my kid put on a fucking suit of armor and a helmet to we
live in a world where 2-year-olds have to be masked.
I like this chat. Guys, this is serious. It's not a yoke.
That's funny. That is hilarious. People take shit too seriously, and especially with internet trends. It's like I wish I had an egg right now so I could smash it on your head.
Why?
And so you could smash it back on me.
I would be really mad at you if you smashed an egg on my head.
Crack right
Do
there.
you think this takes like a half hour to put together? All right.
God, I wish we had some eggs. I wish we had some eggs. Because in fact, Katie would get mad because there would be egg everywhere.
And then you got to sanitize it.
Well, you can't get that stuff out.
Yeah.
No,
and then it's going to be in the mics
it
and stuff.
It just, come on. Who gives a shit?
Well,
it's I think it's funny when you see the videos of dads hunting their kids down the house with their Nerf guns. It's like, you better run, little fucker.
I used to do that with Chris.
It's so funny. It's just.
Well, this TikTok trend is basically, it's a prank trend, right?
Yeah.
Like the whole thing is like the adults are pranking their kids. And then like these professionals come out and say like, hey, this is actually kind of dangerous. But I think the better criticism is basically like using people's children to grow their following on social media. I feel like that's
what I'm saying. Like
that's the bigger sin.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not sharing videos of your grandkids doing something crazy or doing that. That's different. But actually using your child to build your presence,
I
that's
understand
where
that. I understand
I have
that.
a problem.
It's the shit where, oh, you don't want to crack an egg on his skull because, you know, the 6-year-old kid's skull isn't fully formed and blah, 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 blah. Like, no.
You were dropped on your head, weren't
No, probably multiple times.
you? Yeah.
But
Hey,
you know, it's just more of that bullshit soft pussy culture that we live in. It's like, go outside and play, go fall down, you know, sprain your ankle, go get something you need some stitches.
No one wants to be an egghead.
You know, it's just
eat clay.
It's like I don't know how people
it's dropping
survive.
these jokes. I love it. Yeah, I don't get it either. I mean, me and my sisters, we would ride in the back of a pickup truck with no seatbelt on and stuff because it was fun. You would
just how you lived back then.
Yeah. Now it's you gotta, you know,
my
safety
dad,
harness, everything.
My dad would be in prison right now if they knew all the stuff that we did when we were kids.
Same. I know, Dad, you're watching. Same.
It's like, oh my, you let him ride in the back of that pickup truck without a seatbelt on? Oh my God! Down the freeway? What the hell?
Or like,
that's amazing.
Skate down a busy road or something. Yeah.
Jesus.
Or you like scrape your knees.
Do you think the kind of shift away from like less safe kind of like traditions, kind of like, you know, riding in the back of a pickup truck without seatbelt on, stuff like that, has brought us to the point where like we have this entire generation of snowflakes.
Pansy culture. Yeah. You know, how old does a kid have to be before they're allowed to sit in the chair in the car now?
Well,
are you supposed to ride? Are you supposed to ride in a fucking
it's the internet
car seat until you're like 14 now or something
like
stupid?
That, yeah.
It's a con of the internet because there's so many people that are telling you how to raise your kids, to do this, to do that, and that. People have, it used to be where you had a community, you listened to your mother, your in-laws, you know, you had a small site. Now you can get information from anybody on the internet, and I think that's the problem.
All right, I just want to call up William Forbus's $10 super chat. Yes, Vader, I love your rants about crazy safe people.
Idiots.
Yeah, Nadia, I'm with you. It's really gross as using your kids for clout. Just stop using kids. Let them be kids.
Hey, man, I'll use my kid however the hell I want to use him. He's mine. Okay.
You paid for him.
Yeah, he came out of my nuts, so I can do whatever the fuck I want with him.
If Chris is listening, that's not gonna work with me.
It wouldn't fly with Jude either.
Came out of my balls.
You didn't do the baking. You didn't do
whatever.
The work.
Before you were a gleam in Matt Vader's bloodshot eyes.
Put the batter in. You might have been the receptacle, but the pancake mix comes from here.
Oh my God.
Oh, Vader, you and your
You're
progeny.
going to teach the chat where babies come from?
Pancake batter.
Pancake batter.
Turkey
basters. Turkey basters. It's like a scene from Don't Breathe.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we've talked about egg smashing, but let's talk a little bit about cheating.
Wait a minute. One more thing on the egg smashing.
Well, before we get to that, so we have ChatGPT cheating going on in colleges across the country.
God, I hope so.
And this is becoming a real problem. And now colleges are trying to figure out different ways with which to prevent cheating from happening with ChatGTP. And it's kind of funny because, like, I don't know if any of you guys went to college or not.
I did.
But when I was in college, you know, you could basically, like, you know, cheat very easily and not get caught, right? But the students nowadays are so lazy that they're just copying and pasting whatever ChatGTP says. And some of them say, like, I am just a chat bot. But in my opinion, like this is, you know, blah, blah, blah. And so like they actually leave the stuff where it's like the chat bot rats itself out in their stuff.
Oh, they just copy and paste. They don't even edit their own papers.
They don't even bother to read it.
Oh,
they just put in the prompt, copy and paste it, and turn it in, right? So like the big part about cheating in colleges nowadays is like the students are just fucking lazy.
Yeah.
You know, but what a lot of colleges are starting to do is they're starting to bring back the blue book. You guys remember the blue book?
I went to an art school.
I smoked a lot of weed in college and then I dropped out. So no, I don't.
I went to an art college.
So the blue book are just these like thin little like notebooks that they would pass out and have you like write an essay like right there in the classroom.
So my finals, my final essays were you your finals were dependent on what you were studying. So if you were studying film, you could do like a video. If you were studying writing, you could do a story. So each class, your final was based off what your major was in.
Yeah, I also did blue books in high school too, or like in math class, they'd want you to actually like kind of like show your work, and so like you'd have to sit there with a blue book and kind of
I
like
never
solve these
understood the
things.
whole thing was show your work in math. Like if I get the fucking right answer,
I know.
why do I need to
I was
break
the
it
same way.
down for you?
Well, the whole thing about showing your work is about, because like I took a trigonometry class in high school where the teacher was like I know you can do this on a calculator, but I want you to do it in your brain. And so like his whole thing was about teaching us like how the calculator came up with like the results. And it was like really like complicated shit that I've never used in my life, but I could appreciate like why he wanted to do it that way. And what a lot of these colleges are doing is for like computer programming courses, because you can go to ChatGTP and say like, write me this code, and it'll just like pop it out. And so like, they don't know if these people are actually like learning it. And so like, they're going to have them sit there with blue books and write out the code by hand in class.
I have a question though. In the real world, when these kids graduate and they are stumped at their job about a code, do you not think they're going to go to Google or ChatGPT and just be like, hey, can you give me the code or something? And
It doesn't matter though. Like the principle of education is to make sure that the pupils learn, right?
the peoples learn.
So like it's one of those things is like you have to know the rules before you break them.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you know, like I'm a big fan that like if you're paying to go to college, then actually like go to class and learn what you're supposed to learn. But at the same time, like the people who don't learn that stuff and become dependent on stuff like ChatGTP or Google to just tell them the answer. Like there are so many times where I'm having a conversation with someone and I'll say something. They're like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, did you not have basic English in high school, or like, you know, like whatever?
I told you not to talk about our conversations with people.
It doesn't just happen with you, man. It happens with a lot of people. And,
Why are you pointing at me?
no, I'm making a generalization, but like you know, people are always like, oh wow, Kate, like you're so smart. I'm like, I learned in college and high school. So like there is a difference, like when you actually like bother to like sit there and like apply yourself and learn these concepts. But like when I would cheat in college, it'd be something like, so for instance, Cliff Notes. You guys hear of Cliff Notes?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
know. I
Yeah.
used Cliff Notes.
Yeah. So like there were a lot of books
Love
that
Cliff
like
Notes.
I didn't like, that I didn't want to read.
So you just go get the Cliff
And
Notes.
so like I just get the Cliff Notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nowadays you don't even need the Cliff Notes.
Wikipedia.
Yeah, you can either go on Wikipedia or you can go to ChatGTP and just be like, hey, can you summarize this book for me?
Which
you
is,
know?
I'm a big reader, so I believe in reading books. Reading books makes you smarter. So all kinds of books.
I agree with that, but there were a lot of books that I was supposed to read in college, which were not good, and not like, I feel like reading is more of a personal thing where
Mhm.
like, if you like to read, there are certain things that you like to read. And like, if you're forced to read, then it becomes a chore, and it actually makes the learning experience harder. But it's kind of funny because there are lots of businesses out there that cater to students who are looking for shortcuts. And because of ChatGTP, they've seen their business go down by up to like 50%.
Wow.
Yeah. So like this is actually hurting some ancillary cheating markets out there because ChatGTP is free. But
Yeah.
it does make me wonder. So like, I know that lots of colleges are either trying to embrace that students are using like chatbots with AI, or they're trying to prevent the use of this. But I'm wondering long term, how is this going to affect society, where like we have people who would just rather ask a computer for
Well,
the answer? Because at the same time, you have to remember that the people programming these AIs have a lot of power over like, you know, the answers that are delivered.
Yeah.
And also there's some technical glitches where these AIs will start giving you wrong answers because like they're trying to extrapolate something and they get some wires crossed.
I kind of to touch on that. I think we as a society, as a race of humans, we're entering a new era of education and learning, and why we need to do some of these things. But it's not for everybody. I think college is bullshit.
Glorified 4 years of alcoholism.
For about 90% of the people that are in college shouldn't be in college. I firmly believe that. You doctors, lawyers, you know,
That's
robotics,
yeah.
fine, go to college. But most people that I know who went to college don't use their degree, or they just went to college for 3.5 years and dropped out
Well, there's
after
also,
they drank too much stuff, you know, or played sports. college is bullshit. And it's just, unless you're just one of those 10% of people that are going to actually use it and apply what you learn there for your career. And nobody's going to convince me otherwise. If you want to learn a trade, go to a trade school.
Yes.
Go get your six-figure
Yep. I agree with you
from a trade school. But
it's also it's a pressure, a generational pressure too from parents
it's
as
like,
well.
It's like
the expectation is like when you graduate
my mom
high
and
school,
dad. My
you go to
dad has
college.
his master's degree. My mom has her degrees. They're both teachers. My dad could be considered a scientist technically. I was never a college kid. They pushed me and pushed me and pushed me to go to college. I went to college for one term, and I did nothing but drink and smoke weed. And I hated it. I hated the whole thing. And I came home and I said, I'm not going back. I'm not doing this. This isn't for me. I'm going to go get a real job. And that's what I did.
I agree with you with it being now, but not, I would say now, yes. Like you can learn to code without, like somebody said, you can learn to code without a degree. There's a lot of things. Like my degree, honestly, I learned more being on sets and doing stuff than what my actual degree. And and how I was hired was more on my experience and my internships than actually going through 4 years of film and learning film and television.
If you're going to be a physicist or go work in the CERN lab or some shit, that's totally different.
But if you're going to, or even be a teacher,
teacher. That's
but
cool.
If you're just going to go get a degree in, I don't know, gender studies or something that you're still going to end up working a crappy 9-to-5 somewhere
with the
and be in debt.
In the title.
Yeah, you're going to be in debt. I don't think there's a point. But if you nowadays you can there's so many services to teach you how to do things.
Also, so like I think there's a segment of the population out there that would use something like ChatGTP as a crutch, like they already do it with Siri, stuff like that. And so I think my fear is that we're headed towards Wall-E territory, where it's just humans are just like blobs that just rely on technology to do everything.
I think we're already there.
We're already there.
Yeah,
we're
I think we're already
in that
there.
direction.
Well, you can get your groceries delivered. You can get your weed delivered. You can get alcohol delivered. You don't have to leave your house.
Pretty soon, we don't even
home.
need people to deliver that stuff because we have drones and robots.
And you can work from home and all this stuff.
There's a Star Trek joke that you always make about like me, like what's that alien race that doesn't know how to work anything?
Oh, because you're smart and you make things go.
Yeah, but what's that alien race called? Paclids. Okay.
Yeah.
So like I feel like this is like the dawn of the Paclid era of America or just humanity in general, in the sense that like when you have a situation where you don't actually need to learn anything and retain knowledge, you can just ask like, an AI to give you the answer. All of a sudden, like just existing becomes so much more difficult because like you don't actually learn anything. It's like, who's going to make the computers? Who's going to make the cars? Who's going to make the food? Who's going to, carry on the traditions and stuff like that? If, you just rely on a machine to tell you. Well,
isn't that a problem nowadays that people aren't going to learn how to learn how to do, things that help society continue? And because everybody wants to either be a YouTube influencer or, I understand being a doctor or a lawyer and stuff, but we're losing people going to trade schools because college is something that's pushed so heavily on people that that's the expectation. Like if you want to make money, you want to have a career, you have to go to 4-year school instead of learning to be a plumber.
Well, yeah, but people,
things like that.
It's like Nick says here in the chat. Grocery store checkers can't count change back.
Yeah,
because we're heading towards the idiocracy world because people don't learn how to do simple things. And I think that's probably that's a reflection on just our basic school system.
So
it's not good.
Do you think that the colleges are correct in trying to like weed out all the use of AI and stuff like that?
Yes and no. I think they're going to have to learn how to incorporate stuff like this into their curriculum a little bit. It's not going away.
I think it removes
that's the bottom line.
Though.
I mean, people in colleges and institutions like this, they're going to have to learn to evolve with technology, just like everything else does. I mean, students are not going to not use this stuff to their advantage. It's human nature. And let me tell you, if I was in college and I had to go write a freaking 10-page paper on something stupid, I'm doing everything I can to not have to do as much as.
But do you think it's going to make everybody in a sense uniformed? Like everybody is going to have the same type of thinking. Everybody's going to be using the same type of chat. So there's no openness for debates. There's no openness for other thoughts in college. You know, college is supposed to be where you meet other people of different backgrounds, different ideals, and you come together and you talk and you have debates and you learn things. And now if they're just going to be using ChatGPT, everybody's going to be getting their information from the same thing created by the same people. So they're all going to have the same mindset when they enter the real world.
Well, we actually had Dr. Thomas Target kind of tell
Smart
us
dude.
because he's an astrophysicist who teaches at, I think it's Berkeley. Is that correct? Some college somewhere. But so like he like we asked him about this and he's dealing with that too. And he's like on certain things we embrace it, but other things where it's like we would rather have the students actually like learn, you know. So like I think that this is like the real problem here with education, especially considering the fact, so like textbooks, right? Textbooks is such a huge college industry where you spend so much money buying these textbooks.
It's one of the biggest scams in college.
I never used my textbooks.
It's a huge scam. And nowadays with like ebooks, like you don't, you could buy an ebook for like, $5 or something like that if you wanted to. But now with ChatGTP, you don't even need textbooks. Like you can just say like, what's the answer to this? And it'll go out and it'll read all the textbooks for you.
Hey, in this book on this page, what, or they probably tell you right to it. Yeah, for sure.
I'd be curious to know if colleges outside of the United States are embracing it or not, because you know how the whole difference between similar to like TikTok, where our TikToks are more social influences, where like China's TikTok is about.
They're meant to make us dumb, where China's TikTok is meant to make
so I
us
wonder
smart.
if outside colleges are embracing this, or if there's some sort of lockdown to them too.
Well, I think every kind of like higher education facility is going to have to deal with this at some point. But also the question becomes is like, why pay to go to college and learn if you're not going to learn, right?
Yeah, so you can be in debt and then complain about student debt for the rest of your life.
A lot of people go to college because they think it's just something that they're supposed to do.
Well, they also go for an escape too. Like if you're somebody from a small town, you want to go somewhere.
I will say that like college does prepare you to be an adult. Like you're away from your parents for the first time. Oftentimes, like you're on your own, and that's why some people just go crazy, partying and stuff like that because like they're free for the first time. But like I feel like college is like a place that can prepare you for the responsibilities of being like a responsible adult. But a lot of people just aren't ready for that when they go to college. But I learned.
My
a lot.
roommate wasn't.
I got some horror stories from my college too.
But just to kind of circle back around, I think these institutions are going to have to learn to embrace and adapt the technology because it's not going away. It's just not.
But I also
they're gonna have to adjust how they do things.
Society also needs to adapt the fact that college is not for everyone, and that there are other options to be a part of
and I think a lot of
society too.
There's a lot of society I think does think that, but for some reason there's still people that are expected to go to college that have no business.
I mean, I expect my kid to be a doctor, but that's how my dad expects me to be a doctor.
You raise him in this town, he's probably going to be a valet attendant.
Oh God, no!
I'm not raising him here. And make more than a doctor would.
Yeah.
So.
All right, guys. So we had a lot to talk about today, and we talked about it. I want to thank everyone for showing up for today's live stream, especially those of you who helped, send some super chats, aka Alex's Return Home Fund. We have Salty Superstar, the Astro Nerd Boy, Quantum Cat, William Forbus, Matt Vader's biggest fan, JT Gunn, Art to the Icky, and Salty Superstar Bob Dorsey. Thank you all so much for contributing today, and also want to give a big shout out to Backyard TARDIS and William Forbus for gifting those memberships to our chat. We got 15 gifted subs today, which is fantastic. That's like 3x our original goal. 3x, yes, indeed. And also want to just remind everyone to go give us a rating on Apple Podcasts. We're trying to get over 200 5-star ratings over there so that we can apply to be official accredited movie reviewers for Rotten Tomatoes. we're trying to get as many of those as possible. I think we might have gotten over 200, but the more the better, because we want Rotten Tomatoes to accept us. So if you know anyone with an Apple device or you have an Apple device yourself, please head over there, and you don't even have to write a review. It's just hit the 5 stars. It's very easy to do. Matt Vader 74, do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with the crowd before we go?
I don't know. Don't make your kid a wimp. Smash a couple eggs on his head because it's good for him. No big deal.
I'm glad I'll have Uncle Vader around with my kids.
Watch.
I'll turn him into a man.
Yeah.
Goddamn right.
Even if it's a girl.
Yeah.
Vader, what do we have going on this week?
Oh, Saturday coming up. Saturday live stream. We have your special birthday live stream.
Mm-hmm.
You just want me to say things nice about you. I'm not going to. It's not going to happen. But yeah, no, we're doing a special live stream celebration for Matthew Kadish's big birthday. He really likes birthdays.
He's a big birthday person.
I've never known somebody who's quite as into himself in celebrating his birthday.
I know.
That is
It's a
not true.
birthday month. It's not a birthday.
It's
It's a birthday month.
It's a Kadish palooza.
Yeah.
You're talking about Jude.
No, never, ever.
We just got another.
Yeah.
Let me get this one.
All right.
From my bud William Forbus for $5. Buy Salties. Love that I got to watch the live stream today. I got to buy an Apple product to give you all that review. Oh my God, don't do that, dude.
Hey, I'm a proud Android user, just so you know.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your generosity, William. We really do appreciate you, man. For real. I think it's great. Just I hope you keep coming back and enjoying the show. You don't never have to give us another $1 if you don't want to. Just never feel obligated. So thanks for being there, man.
Yeah. Well, it's people like William Forbus,
Yes.
Scotty Dub,
Generosity is
Bob
amazing.
Dorsey, and the Astro Nerd Boy. Some of our top contributors, they really go beyond
Yes.
what's necessary, but we love you all for it. Thank you all so much, especially Bob. Thanks for that $100 birthday super chat. Really appreciate that. Nadia, what do you got going on, and do you have any final thoughts?
I have Dames and Dorks again Thursday at 5 p.m. And wait a minute, what is that Central Time?
You get a bunch
7 p.m. Central Time.
Except the show where you get a bunch of women in the room, talk about
Nerd culture and pop
nerd
culture.
stuff that
We're
you
gonna
all
talk
haven't
about
watched.
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka?
Yeah,
Oh,
I haven't even seen it yet. I've got to
oh,
power
well,
watch it
Prepare
tonight.
to be underwhelmed.
I
Okay.
have a feeling. I saw the homework I would
How
have
many
to
on
do.
the panel are going to be like, what's a Star Wars?
It's a Star Wars.
Actually, only me. So only me. Everybody else is an expert on Star Wars.
Good to know.
Why does Qui-Gon Jinn die when he gets stabbed through the gut?
Wait a minute. Who?
Wait,
Who are you
that's
talking
a valid question.
I know. It's because he got shafted in the spine.
It is
Not-
our
not a
first
gut wound.
episode, so bear with us. We are premiering. We'll be bi-weekly on
Man,
Thursdays.
I'm gonna troll the shit out of you.
Chris is going to be modding, so he'll
That's
kick you
okay.
out. Other than that, Inside All Day, we'll be doing our next episode on all the Mission Impossibles because I finally caught up on all of them, and I actually really enjoyed them. I think 5 is my favorite.
Which one?
5.
I missed
Mission
all that.
Impossible.
I just had a dirt moment. I just lost it.
5.
Michelle, you
Which
watched
one
all
is?
the Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah,
That's where I'm
I
glad
don't know
you-
if
I'm
I
glad-
should do Bourne or James Bond next.
I'm glad you're finally caught up on those
Yeah,
10 years later. That's
I know.
really good job.
Which one should I do?
Yeah,
Bourne or James Bond next?
Bond.
Bond?
That'll take
All
you-
of Bond?
That'll take you 20 years.
There's
to
like
get through.
25 movies, I think.
That's right.
All right, and that's it. That's all I got going on.
I told her she should do the Fast and Furious.
Oh, are you
next.
going on? Are
Absolutely
you going
not.
on with JT as well?
Oh, right. Sorry, JT. Chris and I will both be on JT's show next week.
I'm
On the
actually
6th.
I'm actually going on JT's show in a few weeks myself.
And I'm actually going to be on Luke's show. If you go to Inside All Day Pod on Twitter and YouTube and Instagram, I have our schedule there where we're going to be guesting. But yes, I will be. I'm actually really looking forward to being on JT's show. I hope we talk about Bigfoot.
JT, leave a link. You
Yeah.
can leave a link to your own show in there. It's fine, buddy.
And make sure we can talk about Bigfoot, JT.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Thank you all for tuning in, and join us next Tuesday. Hopefully, Alex will be back, so
He
I
will.
don't have to do the hosting duties anymore. Nadia came in and it's like, you guys are so boring. The energy's so low
I
in
miss
here.
Alex's energy. I'm like, come on, let's ramp it up, guys.
Oh my
Take a
God.
shot.
I have the highest energy level of
Where?
all of us.
No, you have an angry level. There's
Well-
a difference. Right?
All right, guys. Thank you all so much for being here, and tune in on Saturday for my big birthday stream. Should be a good time. We have a lot of special guests. We're going to be popping in and out there. But until next Tuesday, stay salty, my friends.